Well, it's a pleasure to welcome once again Prime Minister Netanyahu to the Oval Office. There's nobody I've met with more or consulted with more than Bibi, and it's a testimony to the incredible bond between our two nations. I've said before, and I will repeat, we do not have a closer friend or ally than Israel, and the bond between our two countries and our two peoples is unbreakable. And that's the reason why on the whole spectrum of issues, we consult closely. We have the kind of military and intelligence and security cooperation that is unprecedented. And there is a strong bipartisan commitment in this country to make sure that Israel's security is preserved in any contingency. We're going to have a wide range of issues, obviously, to discuss, given what's happening on the world stage and in the Middle East in particular. So we'll spend some time discussing the situation in Syria and the need for us to not only find a political solution to the tragic situation there, but also to address growing extremism inside of Syria, the spillover effects on Lebanon and Jordan in particular. We'll have an opportunity to discuss the work that we do in counterterrorism and the work that we are going to be continuing to do to try to stabilize an environment that has become very dangerous in many respects. We'll also have a chance to talk about Egypt, a country that obviously is of critical importance and where we have the opportunity, I think, to move beyond recent events over the last several years to a point in which, once again, there is a legitimate path towards political transition inside of Egypt. And that's important to Israel's security as well as to U.S. security. We're going to be talking about Iran and my absolute commitment to make sure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, something that I know that the Prime Minister feels very deeply about. And we will discuss how the joint plan of action that is currently in place can potentially at least lead to a solution that ensures that Iran is not developing a nuclear weapon. And we'll spend time talking about the prospects of peace between Israelis and Palestinians. I want to commend publicly the efforts that Prime Minister Netanyahu have made in very lengthy and painstaking negotiations with my Secretary of State, John Kerry, Abu Mazen. They are tough negotiations. The issues are profound. Obviously, if they were easy, they would have been resolved many years ago, but I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu has approached these negotiations with a level of seriousness and commitment that reflects his leadership and the desire for the Israeli people for peace. It's my belief that ultimately it is still possible to create two states, a Jewish state of Israel and a state of Palestine, in which people are living side by side in peace and security. But it's difficult, and it requires compromise on all sides. And I just want to publicly, again, commend the Prime Minister for the seriousness with which he's taken these discussions. The time frame that we had set up for completing these negotiations is coming near, and some tough decisions are going to have to be made. But I know that regardless of the outcome, the Prime Minister will make those decisions based on his absolute commitment to Israel's security and his recognition that ultimately Israel's security will be enhanced by peace with its neighbors. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I want to welcome you again and thank you again for your leadership and your friendship with the American people.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you today, especially since I know you've got a few other pressing matters on your plate. During the 5 years of your presidency, you and I and Israel and the United States have worked very closely on critically important issues: security, intelligence sharing, missile defense, and we're deeply grateful for that. I look forward to working closely with you in the years ahead to address the main challenges that confront both our countries. And of these, the greatest challenge, undoubtedly, is to prevent Iran from acquiring the capacity to make nuclear weapons. I think that goal can be achieved if Iran is prevented from enriching uranium and dismantles fully its military nuclear installations. Now, Mr. President, if that goal can be achieved peacefully and through diplomacy, I can tell you that no country has a greater stake in this than Israel. Because, as you know, and I'm sure you appreciate, Iran calls openly for Israel's destruction. And so I'm sure you appreciate that Israel cannot permit such a state to have the ability to make atomic bombs to achieve that goal. We just cannot be brought back again to the brink of destruction. And I, as the Prime Minister of Israel, will do whatever I must do to defend the Jewish state. We're also going to discuss the peace process, as you said. I want to thank you and Secretary Kerry for, when I say tireless efforts, I mean tireless efforts that he's putting into this quest, as you are. It's an opportunity to congratulate Secretary Kerry on the birth of his new granddaughter. Mr. Secretary, you may not be aware of this, but the news of the new granddaughter came to Secretary Kerry while we were discussing the peace process. So we've had many productive meetings, but this was truly a productive meeting. And so I thank you both for your efforts and your teams. The 20 years that have passed since Israel entered the peace process have been marked by unprecedented steps that Israel has taken to advance peace. I mean, we vacated cities in Judea and Samaria. We left entirely Gaza. We've not only frozen settlements, we've uprooted entire settlements. We've released hundreds of terrorist prisoners, including dozens in recent months. And when we look at what we got in return, it's been scores of suicide bombers, thousands of rockets on our cities, fired from the areas we vacated, and just incessant Palestinian incitement against Israel. So Israel has been doing its part, and I regret to say that the Palestinians haven't. Now, I know this flies in the face of conventional wisdom, but it's the truth. And the people of Israel know that it's the truth because they've been living it. What they want is peace. What we all want fervently is peace. Not a piece of paper, although that too, but a real peace, a peace that is anchored in mutual recognition of two nation states that recognize and respect one another, and solid security arrangements on the ground. Mr. President, you rightly said that Israel, the Jewish state, is the realization of the Jewish people's self-determination in our ancestral homeland. So the Palestinians expect us to recognize a Palestinian state for the Palestinian people, a nation state for the Palestinian people. I think it's about time they recognize a nation state for the Jewish people. We've only been there for 4,000 years. And I hope President Abbas does this, as I hope that he'll take seriously Israel's genuine security needs. Because, as you know, and I think everybody does, in the Middle East, which is definitely the most turbulent and violent part of the earth, the only peace that will endure is a peace that we can defend. And we've learned from our history, Jewish history, but I think from general history, that the best way to guarantee peace is to be strong. And that's what the people of Israel expect me to do, to stand strong against criticism, against pressure, stand strong to secure the future of the one and only Jewish state. And I think there is a partnership here, a partnership between Israel and America that I think is important for this end. I want to thank you again for your friendship and your hospitality and the warmth you show me on this snowy Washington day. Thank you. It's good to see you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.